Hey friends, welcome back to another video. It is actually a great day because it is Saturday in my world. Well, I guess when you're watching this, it's Saturday as well. But it's Saturday. My husband took Archie out for the day so that I can have the house to myself to film. And the sun is out and I get to play with all my trailing plants and show you what they all look like right now. This year, I am just obsessed with the trailing plants. I want nothing more than a nice, weirdo, quirky, unruly trailing plant, and I have sold and given away a lot of plants to make way for their growth. And so today I'm here to kind of just do a show and tell of all of the trailing plants that I have in my collection right now. So we're just going to get started because there are quite a few to get through. Obviously I'm here in my living room. This is probably where I will be doing the majority of this video, even though I have some over in my plant room. Before I start bringing out all the ones that are on my living room shelf over here, I'm going to just give you a quick sort of rundown of or breakdown of the environmental conditions I give it. So even though it's right next to a south-facing window, it's not actually getting any direct light from the south-facing window because it's behind that wall, but it does get sort of the indirect light from it, which is quite strong. Based on foot candle readings that I've done on a nice sunny day in the summer, it can range anywhere from like 800 foot candles to like 3,000, which is really great. But on a normal Vancouver day, it's with the Soltech light that I have above it, it's getting on average about 250 to 300 foot candles, which is where I try to maintain most of my plants. I find that anything more sometimes bleaches it with the height of the shelves. For the most part, it seems to be doing fine over in that little corner. They are all, for the most part, like if you look at the care instructions for them or you look at what their environmental conditions are like in its natural habitat, you would think that they would only thrive with really bright light, but they've been okay so far in my house. I have moved these plants around a lot and they've been, honestly, they've been fine. So yeah, I wanted to get through that really quick so that I didn't have to say it individually. But we're gonna start with one that is actually hanging in my south-facing window. So this one is actually getting direct light from the south-facing window, and the reason that I have it up there is because it is growing so freaking fast and it is running out of places to be on a shelf. Like, it's not high enough, which is never really a problem that I had with any of my trailing plants, and I don't have the guts to chop it because I love it so much. So I'm going to take that out right now. This is her. This was a plant that I got from my friend Jonathan over at flori.culture.tropical.nursery. I did a plant tour of his shop last week that I will link in the description if you somehow missed it. But he gave this to me as a lepismium lumbricoides, and I've seen a different name for it, some kind of rhipsalis something. It's really hard to identify all of these sort of like jungle-y cacti when they haven't flowered because they share so many of the same physical characteristics. But this one is probably my most vigorous grower because look at how long it's become. Like, it's insane. He gave it to me as, so you can see sort of the main stem. It was this guy here with 4 of these, and then from the 4 cuttings like that were chopped at the bottom, it's pushed out all of these growth points, and then another one here at the top which kind of got stunted, like it just stopped growing. But yeah, the growth down here has been insane, and I have not had the heart to chop it because it just looks so beautiful. And I love how like long and dangly it is, and the fact that it doesn't branch off a lot like a lot of lepismium or rhipsalis. I want to thank one of my subscribers for finally telling me the name of what these are called. I'm probably saying it wrong, but they're called, because I'm always like, oh, look at these, they're not leaves. They're called phyloclades. I will put in the name here, phyloclades, phyloclads. I think it's clades. But yeah, I like that these phyloclades are very long and they don't branch a lot, which I will show you with the different rhipsalis in terms of what I mean with just being really long before it branches again. Anyway, this one is super fun. It's very, very hardy. It's growing right now in a no drainage pot in lechuza pond with a lot of perlite, because at the time I was still rooting this. I think he gave it to me as an unrooted cutting, if I can remember. I'm pretty sure he just like chopped it and then like rolled it up and gave it to me. So I believe that I rooted this in perlite, and since it had such long perlite roots, I just got it into pond, and it's done pretty well. I do let this thing dry out a little bit between waterings. I don't always keep it wet, but yeah, it is doing great, and I'm hoping this summer it gives me a lot more growth. I'm sure at some point I am gonna have to chop the bottom, because I think that the ones over at Jonathan's shop, I'm pretty sure they're like 12 feet long. Like they're all the way at the ceiling, and they pretty much all go all the way to the floor from when I saw it last time, or the time before last. So something's gotta give at some point, but right now I'm just gonna enjoy it the way it is. The next two are the same plant. I just acquired them at different times. So this one is a rhipsalis clavata. I got this one from my friend Britt, and I was very pleasantly surprised at how easily it rooted, how fast it rooted, and just how vigorously it wants to root. I thought that this plant was pushing out so many like aerial roots. I think that you'll be able to see them here. It was like pushing out so many roots, like this guy right there. And look at this one, this little escape artist here. Yeah, I thought that it was pushing out this many roots because it was above my TV, or it is still above my TV, and it gets really, really hot. And I thought like the moisture from the pot was like creating this like little environment of humidity that was making it root. But if you watched my vlog, or not my vlog, yeah, my vlog that went up from California, you'll know that I acquired a second rhipsalis clavata. I got it from Green Acres in Sacramento, but this one also has a ton of roots that it's pushing out. And this one broke off the main plant, which I was like really sad about. But I was like, you know what? Because there are so many like roots poking out everywhere, I'm sure it's gonna root super fast. And lo and behold, literally within like 2 days, I started getting roots. So this one is gonna be ready to be up potted already, and I kind of do wanna do that soon because there's like a lot of pressure on this stem here, and I just feel like I'm getting close. Like if it starts growing more, it's probably going to snap like it did out of its original pot. But how fun is this? I think I will eventually put them together. I thought maybe they were different because they're like slightly a different color, but I think one was just grown in higher light than the other one. This one's a little bit darker. This one has a little bit more sun stressing. But yeah, I really, really like the growth pattern of this. Here's what I was talking about in terms of like the branching. So like you see how like one phylloclade like will push out all these like multiple different phylloclades. The other lepismium is just like one phylloclade, gets really, really long and then pushes out a second one. But the reason that I like this one is because even though it's like very branchy, it still has this sort of like heavy draping look. It gives it like this whimsical, almost sad, is it wispy? I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it just has like a nice drape. And it has a nice dangle, that's what she said. And I'm obsessed with it. I love this so much. And it's weird because I don't think that this is not like considered like a hard to find rhipsalis. I'm pretty sure that I've seen these before at big box stores, but maybe I just didn't like the growth pattern of them because they grew a little bit more like upright, and they were never really nice and drapey like this. Like I don't know what it is, but it's like I know that I've seen these before and I just never really paid any mind to it. But anyway, yeah, love that one so much. This one is pushing out so much growth already, and it's growing in Crystal Star Nursery's Rooting Riches. Like I said, I'm gonna pop these together, and I'm probably gonna opt for Crystal Star Nursery's Mineral Magic, which is kind of like Rooting Riches, but a little bit more thicker grade, or I almost said bigger grade. It's like a finer, this is a finer grade like Mineral Magic. I think the Mineral Magic also has the addition of akadama and pumice. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's loved this substrate. It rooted so fast in it, took off like no one's business in ambient. So yeah, I am going to pot these together. I might actually just do it today because I'm filming a repot and chat after this. And I would love to just get them together because right now they're just living in 2 separate spots, and I'm trying to minimize the amount of like doubles that I have in the house. So yeah, anyway, rhipsalis clavata, if you're looking for another rhipsalis to add to your collection that is very fast, roots fast, can live great in ambient, this is your guy. It would not be a trailing plant video if I didn't include my cissus quadrangularis, which I said that I was not going to chop anymore because I had harassed this thing over 2024. I was chopping it like every few weeks to propagate and give cuttings away and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm gonna have to stand for this. This one is in a glass because it's getting so heavy this way that I don't want it to fall forward. But I do think it's probably gonna need a chop soon because it is just getting really, really long. But I love it. I just love how crazy this is. And I know some people on here are tired of the cissus quadrangularis propaganda, but it's one of my favorites, and I just feel like it would make a great addition to any house. There have been some people that have said they just don't get it. They think it looks crazy and unruly, but that's what I love about it. I also love that it just has so much character. So this is part of the grape family, and it puts out these little like tendrils. Don't be freaked out by the little specks you see. It puts out these, I don't know if it's like salt or like what it is. Like it always is covered in these little grains of something, but they're not pests. They don't move around. I have looked at it with the microscope. I don't know what it's called. They push out these little leaves. Look at the leaves. Actually, these are like some of the biggest leaves I've had on it historically. Like I've never had leaves this big before. And then look at how these tendrils just like choke itself out. It's like wrapped around itself. So this is a plant that definitely could be trellised, and probably, I think naturally it does grow up like the sides of rocks and stuff, but we're not doing a trailing situation with this one, especially not as fast as for how fast it grows. There's no way that I would want it to be climbing anyway. So I have chose the trailing life for the cissus. I had a few people message me asking how I get the cissus to trail without snapping. And I can kind of see the issue that some people might be having, but I don't know why. Like I've never really had that issue before. No matter how long and how heavy it gets, it kind of seems like at the base of where it's at, it becomes so calloused and like so husky and barky that it just kind of strengthens the entire structure of it and is able to like maintain that long trailing what do we call it? These are not phylloclades, but yeah, it just is able to like hold itself basically. And there was another person who was saying like their cissus won't trail and it only grows up no matter how heavy it is, which is kind of crazy to me because I don't see how something like this long would be able to like stay upright. So unfortunately I can't answer those questions because they're just issues that I have not had, but maybe if anyone in the comments wants to chime in if you've ever had issues and like what your solution was, you might be able to help some people. But yeah, it's just always been kind of an easy guy for me. I think the only real issue I've had with this plant is, I don't know if it's like a fungal thing or if it's just like callousing, but I'm gonna try and show you some parts. Like here, it's like this black stuff. It's not all over the plant. It's primarily on the ones that are like really old. It's not soft. It just gets this like weird like discoloring. And then there are some that have like this sort of like rusty stuff. I've had this issue before. Luckily, like just using a spray, I didn't use any kind of like fungal spray. I actually just used isopropyl alcohol and water, and I just sprayed it, and I was just like hoping that whatever it was just like wouldn't spread, and it doesn't seem like it spread. So yeah, anyway, I love this plant very much. I just have a hard time keeping it in one spot because of how unruly it can get. But again, one of those that I don't really mind because I love it so much, and I make sure that it gets the real estate that it needs. I just went to go switch out my battery on my camera, and I saw my mic sitting on my table next to me, and I was like, huh, I don't remember taking that off. And then I realized I never put it on. So I don't know what the audio was like for the first part, but we'll see. I'm not redoing it. So anyway, let's continue on. Next one is another plant that I got from Jonathan over at Floriculture, and this one is a columnea microphylla. It is in the lipstick family. I got it at the same time as my other columnea, which I'll probably just show you after this. I've said it so many times ever since this thing started really growing that I thought it was very unsuspecting. It was like the underdog of one of the gifted plants that Jonathan gave me, but he was like, trust me, this is your kind of plant, you're gonna like it. And yeah, he was right. I recently repotted this. I repotted it on camera, and I was so scared because, I mean, I've never worked with this plant before. I did have a different kind of lipstick plant, but I feel like that one was a little bit easier. Not as finicky as this one. I'm not even gonna say finicky. I don't think this plant is finicky. It looks finickier than it is. It is fuzzy. It's very, very fuzzy. It feels so nice to touch. And you would think that, like, with how coin-like these are, that you would just be finding them everywhere. But honestly, since I've had it, it actually has not shed a lot. It only really shed after I repotted it. And then after it kind of stabilized and got rooted, it was totally fine. I have one of my air plants from Floriculture in there too. Let me just show you the mix that I have it in. It was in Jonathan's mix before, so like a very like succulent cactus type mix. And I wanted to get it into something bigger so that I could give it like the best chance at exploding with growth this summer. I'm not really seeing any, oh no, I am. There's like there's a lot of new root growth that I can see. So yeah, it's just in my regular aeroid mix. I did mix a little bit more pumice in there from my recollection. I don't 100% remember if I added any like sort of different amendments that I normally would add, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that I did it at the same time as some other repots, so it would have been like the same substrate. You can kind of see up here where it shed quite a bit after I repotted. So if you have this plant and you notice that it's kind of going through it after a repot, I would say don't touch it just yet. Just give it some time to stabilize, grow some new roots. Make sure to just give it a lot of light while it's adjusting to like the new pot and the new substrate, but it should bounce back fairly quickly. But yeah, this one's really, really fun, getting super, super long. Don't plan on chopping this anytime, only because I have tried to propagate this twice with no luck, and so I'm just like, I don't want to waste anymore. I thought that I might propagate it to try and like give it to friends and stuff, but at this point I would much rather see it fill in a little bit more, especially up here where it started to bald. But if you are looking for a nice dainty but sort of, I'm not gonna say creepy, but it's like dark and fuzzy. It kind of has like a little bit of like a cute, sinister look. Yeah, try and find one of these. Again, I got this at Floriculture. When I was there last time, he did have a few 2-inch pots for sale. So if you're looking for one, maybe hit up Jonathan and see if he'll sell you one. An absolute favorite of mine. This one has been with me for so long. I actually think this was my first rhipsalis that I ever owned. I didn't even know what it was when I first got it. My friend, my neighbor who lives downstairs, he was at Lowe's one day and he was like, hey, like I see this pot, like what is it? And like, do you want one? Because it was in like a 6-inch basket. It's probably just like barely coming out of the pot. And I wasn't like floored when I saw it. I wasn't like, oh my God, yes, get me 5 of them. Again, didn't know what it was, and I just kind of needed a plant to fill in some shelf space. I was like, yeah, sure, grab me one. But I did not know how much I was gonna freaking love this. So this is a rhipsalis capilliformis, I believe. Take all of my rhipsalis IDs with an absolute grain of salt, because like I said earlier, it's really hard to identify rhipsalis like definitively unless it flowers, and so many of them are just so similar that you can just like interchange the IDs. And I've never had any rhipsalis flower for me, so I don't know what they look like, but I'm almost certain that this is a capilliformis because there's not many that look exactly like this. It's really like the thick ones that they all get like interchanged. But there's not many plants like this that you can grow indoors, and it's just so much fun. It's like the perfect shelf plant in my opinion because of how full and lush it grows. And even though it does branch off a lot like this, I like that it's a lot thinner and that as it gets heavier, it eventually finds its way down and it doesn't just grow crazy upright. The upright period is very, very short and then it eventually starts hanging. But I just don't know what my plant collection would be without this. This is just like a staple in my house now. If I didn't have this out in my living room, it just like would not feel like my living room. And this just, yeah, this is just one of my absolute favorites and it is so easy to care for. It did come, like I said, in a 6-inch pot with drainage holes, but pretty much since the moment I took it home, which was, I think it was 4 years ago now, or yeah, 4 years ago, it's always been in no drainage. And I find this to be a pretty thirsty plant. And so growing it in no drainage has been pretty useful for me, especially if I'm gonna, sorry, my shirt is falling. I probably should change. It's been very useful for me, especially when I have to leave for like short periods of time or even for a few weeks. It's a vigorous grower. I have chopped this thing down so many times, just like straight up like mowed it in half. And it always just grows back bigger and badder than before. I'll say my only gripe with this plant, and it's interesting because someone had commented a few years ago about this plant and was like, I loved mine, but I got rid of it because it sheds so much. And I remember vividly replying like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I don't have that issue. Mine doesn't really shed a lot and it's been pretty easy for me. But no, it sheds a lot, like a lot. It's not really the leaves that shed, it's the aerial roots, like these dried aerial roots. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. Like it has all of these aerial roots that have dried up that just eventually fall off. And yeah, it's all over my shelf. It's all over the floor there. So that is something that I have to vacuum almost every day. I have to vacuum my shelf. I have to vacuum the floor, or else there's just like little dried sticks everywhere. So that's kind of annoying, but to me, it's worth it. It's not like a deal breaker. It's not a huge issue. It's just one of those things that I know I'm gonna have to do, especially if you let it dry out. Oh my gosh, it's gonna shed like crazy. But I would say that it's pretty resistant to drought. It's not one of those plants where like it'll get dry rot super fast if you forget to water it. I think the longest I've gone without watering this is like 4 weeks, maybe even longer. The only sign that it is dehydrated is if you get really, really close. I don't even know if I'll be able to find any that look dehydrated, but it kind of looks a little wrinkled. But because of how full and big it is, from afar, it's so hard to tell. And I sometimes just forget to water this because I can't see the pot. It's just so, it's so lush. But yeah, very hardy, very easy, and definitely, again, a staple in this house. I changed my shirt because I feel like I was like one wrong move from traumatizing you for life. So anyway, this is a plant that I got from my friend Crystal over at Crystal Star Nursery, and this is called a sarcostemma vanlessenii. I bought it because it's a trailing plant, and I feel like I have a weakness for just these long, tendrily looking plants. I know that like a plant like this might not seem very special to someone, but I always try and see like the bigger picture and like the long-term goal for it. And I really liked how, what's the word? It's got like knuckles, like they kind of look like little grasshopper legs or something. I don't know what the word is, but it's really cool. I feel like I had not really seen these I don't know, online or just like within the community. It's not something that I even saw like in other YouTube videos. Like nobody had even talked about it. And so when I saw it on the website, it was like this really big full basket. And of course she wasn't selling, that was like the mother plant photo. She was selling really small ones. And I was like, you know what? I can put in the time. I can put in the time and the effort and the TLC to get it to a nice big plant. And so here we are in the process. Very humble beginnings. But yeah, I think this one's really cool, and this one actually can sun stress to like this really cute pink, but I didn't buy it to sun stress. I actually am not a huge fan of sun stressing on plants. I think it's pretty, like it's beautiful, but in my home with the rest of my plants, with my decor, I just feel like it doesn't really match. Now, if I had an outdoor greenhouse, it would be a completely different story. There would be so much other different content on this channel if I had an outdoor greenhouse, or if I could grow plants outside like my sister does in California. It would be a dream. So anyway, sarcostemma vanlessenii, not really much to show right now, but I can say that in the time I've had it, it's been pretty low-key, haven't really needed to do much to it. It took pretty well to a really dense mix. It was in, I think when I got it, it was just in soil, and to my recollection, Crystal Star uses peat-based soil, and it's very like sandy, like it's like very airy and light. And I didn't have that kind of soil, but I did try and like add a little bit more perlite than I usually do, but it's still quite dense for what it is. But it seems fine. It doesn't seem to mind it at all. I honestly don't know much about this plant. I have not done any research. I don't know where it's from. I don't know what the flowers, like I don't know anything about it. All I knew was that I love the little legs. I love the little what did I say? Grasshopper legs. And I'm in it for the long haul. Give me like 2 years and hopefully I can show you like a nice big basket. This is the last plant that is sitting on that shelf. I just got this one and I know it's not trailing yet, but it will, and it's gonna trail like a hot damn, I know it. So this is a sphyrospermum buxifolium. I got this again from flori.culture.tropical.nursery. I'm gonna insert hopefully I still have the footage. I'm gonna just quickly insert a photo of his mother plant. He said that this started as a teeny tiny pot, just like mine, 2 years ago, and it has now turned into this monster, giant Godzilla of a plant. And honestly, that is what I am hoping for in my future. I would love a whole waterfall of these little coins, and typically this is not the kind of like trailing plant that I would go for. I'm not super into the coin-like trailing plant only because I feel like they're notoriously hard to care for. But Jonathan has reassured me that this one grows like a weed and really does not require much. And I actually just really like it. I think it has a nice, drape, has a nice flow to it. I like when you do this, like, you know, when you like do that to a plant, it just feels really nice in your hand, and that is a big selling point for me when it comes to trailing plants. This one has already grown quite a bit since I brought it home. Like all of this is brand new, all of this is brand new, this is brand new. And yeah, I'm just kind of waiting until it grows a little bit more before I repot it. I try to not like shock these plants right away because his shop, very humid, super warm in California. And then, you know, it like gets packaged up, it travels all the way to Canada, it lives in this harsh terrain. And yeah, it's not living in any kind of greenhouse, it's literally just living out there. And so I just kind of give it a little bit of time to adjust. But yeah, I'm kind of estimating by the end of this year, I should have like a nice big trailing pot. And I'm excited to see it. So yeah, here is the start of it. It'll be nice that I have something to document where I started. So that I can flex something later. Anyway, like I said, that is all for the plants that are living on that shelf. I'm gonna move into this shelf behind me. There's only one trailing plant in there, but if you didn't know, I kind of created this little something in the center of this cabinet. There are 2 grow lights in there, which I've turned off, but I have like my cacti in there, I have a ping in there, I have a Drosera, Pachis, my Decaria madagariensis, my almost last remaining Hoya. It's kind of just like the miscellaneous kind of plants in there. And I have put this in there as well because I wanted to give it a lot of controlled light. And this is my favorite trailing plant right now in my collection, and it has been pretty much since I've taken it home. This is a columnea arguta or columnea arguta af. I'm not sure which one is the correct ID, but another one that I got from Flori.culture.tropical.nursery. Guys, look at it. Look how beautiful it is. And this is what I was talking about, how it feels in your hand. This is important. This is very important. If you are a trailing plant person, the way it feels when you do this, it's a make or break. If you do this and it's super stiff and it just goes straight, no. You gotta have this nice, heavy drape. It's perfection. The leaves are perfection. Look at the shape of them, the color, the texture. This plant is everything. It is everything. The new growth is so adorable. I just like I can't get over how much I love this plant. And when I got it from Jonathan, his plant literally, it went from almost to the top of the ceiling to probably like 2 feet off the ground. It was so long and it was so full. I think it might have been flowering, but he said that it has kind of gone through it. It is not getting as much light as it should. And so when I was there last, it was like pretty sparse. It looked like it was kind of going through it. But the good news is he propagated the crap out of it. So he does have some 2-inch pots in store. I don't think they're online. I think you have to DM him and ask him for it. But if you are close to SAC, just go there and pick the one you want, because they're all different. Some of them are more trailing than others. Some of them have more in each pot. Like, it's just nice to be able to go and pick the plant you want. But yeah, it's starting to really branch off at the top now, which I am so excited about, because I want the dream. I want the columnea dream. I just want really, really, really long stems, and I want it to be really full, and I want to be able to go like this, and it'll just, and that is my dream for my future. Anyway, yeah, I chopped this thing to no end over the last few weeks trying to oh no, I have to sneeze. Oh no, I have to sneeze. I have an injury in my back, and when I sneeze, it's the worst pain in the world. No, I'm scared. Ow. Ugh. I had an appointment yesterday, and apparently it is an abdominal tear. So when I sneeze and I like flex those muscles, so sneezing, coughing, any kind of action where like my muscles tense here, it literally feels like there is a butcher knife going through my abdomen. So yeah, that's great. Oh yeah, I had attempted to propagate this for a few friends, and it did not go very well. I ended up just sort of wasting a whole lot of them. I cut, where did I cut it? I chopped this one. You can kind of see where the new growth is growing now, but like if I didn't cut it, it probably would have been down to here. So I'm done. I'm gonna let it grow. I'm gonna let it live its best life this summer. I am going to get it into a bigger pot before like the peak of summer, because I want it to just be set for the fall and winter. I don't want to have to do anything when it's not at its strongest, because I am very, very fearful of this thing dying. There are honestly very little plants in my collection. I can probably count them on my hands where I would be gutted if they died, or yeah, something happened to them. The rest is kind of like, you know, it's life, it happens. I'm gonna throw in this meme that Enid from NSE Tropicals posted the other day on her Facebook, and it's just so like, it's so relatable, and maybe it might make me seem like careless or ungrateful, but I just feel like once you have been doing this for, you know, X amount of years, you just realize it comes with the territory, and you just stop mourning the loss of a plant the way you used to. I don't know, it's just what happens. So yeah, this is definitely one of them where I would be just absolutely devastated if something happened. I did want to try and propagate this before to have some backup, just in case anything happens, but I don't know how to propagate it. I forgot how Jonathan does it, but every like propagation I've tried to take, it's just rotted so fast. So yeah, I'm not gonna try that for a while. I'm just gonna do my best to take care of the one that I have, and fingers crossed she turns into the columnea of my dreams. And if there's any plant that you're gonna get after watching this, like if I can influence you to get any of the plants that I'm gonna show you today, please let it be this one. This is my 2025 push. I'm pushing the columnea, did I call it microphylla? Columnea arguta F. I didn't realize this one was so thirsty, and I kind of wish that I watered it last night so it was looking its best for you today. It's looking a little bit floppy. The leaves are so soft. I just like drenched it with water, but of course, my Hederaceum var hederaceum, aka the philodendron micans. This is a staple plant in my house. I say that a lot, but this is like one of the OGs. I've had this for longer than I can remember. It was one of, whoa, there's a lot of dead leaves under here. I haven't pruned this one in probably too long now. Sorry, it's a tick. I can't not pick at it. I gotta pick at it first. It's like a pimple. Admittedly been neglecting this one a bit. I do have a micans care video if you are interested in watching that. I typically try to not let it ever dry out because this is one of those plants where like it does run the risk of dry rot really fast. It doesn't have the kind of roots that can tolerate long drought periods without hollowing out. So historically I've always tried to keep it in pond, but I moved this one to soil couple months ago. The pond that it was in, it was like it was right next to a window. It's still next to a window, but there was so much algae, I like could not see what was going on in there. So I moved it into soil. I used to have two really big ones. I gave one to my sister, which is doing phenomenal at her house. Actually, it is probably almost as big as this one now, but she has never chopped it. I chop this one pretty regularly. I just chopped this one maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it's due for a repot. It needs to be in a bigger pot pretty soon. It has always really been growing in no drainage. I swear by growing micans in no drainage. I feel like this is a plant that can withstand a good amount of fertilizer, but in general, the fertilizers that we're using for indoor plants, they're not the same as like vegetable fertilizer where it's gonna just burn the crap out of your plants, and I tend to go lighter on the fertilizer anyway. I probably could be fertilizing more, and I think that's something that I'm gonna try and do this year, is not dilute it so much and try and fertilize a little bit more. I feel like my anthurium can probably use a more fertilizer than I'm giving it. But anyway, plants like this in no drainage, I feel like can tolerate a lot of that mineral buildup. And by the time that it like builds up so much, it's time for a repot anyway. That's like my whole spiel in any no drainage video that I ever do on this channel. I'm not a pro, but this is just what's worked for me. And so if you've struggled with the micans, please give no drainage a try. I feel like a no drainage pot has been the saving grace for a lot of people who have almost given up on the micans. And this is one that I just wish every person can enjoy the way that I've been able to enjoy it. I feel like I've been so lucky and grateful to have such good luck with the micans because it's just one of those plants that, I don't know, it just makes a house a home. And so if you struggle with the micans, you've been looking for a way to like get it nice and big and bushy, please give my micans video a watch. That's the only care video specifically on a plant that I've ever done, because I don't want people coming on this channel thinking that I'm like a know-it-all and like I know the best for your plant. But if there's anything that I can say is that I do know the micans. I feel like me and this plant were just like this. We just know each other. Even when she is going through it, like I know exactly what to do. I trust the process, I trust her, and we just kind of have like a really good like symbiotic relationship. But anyway, yeah, this is my micans right now. It's living over by my east facing window on a shelf. It is not getting a ton of light. I will say that probably the highest foot candle reading that I've gotten on like a nice sunny day that I can remember was probably like 550, which really isn't a lot, but that's okay for the micans because if it gets too much light, it gets really bleached. Some people like the bleached look because it can turn like this nice orange pink color, but to me it kind of looks a little bit dead, sort of like this color. This color to me reminds me of a dead leaf, so I like to keep it nice and dark. But yeah, would not be a trailing plant video without my micans. This is the last plant that I'm going to show you that is growing out in my living room. This is one that I was obsessed with from basically the first time that I acquired the big plant. But recently it just hasn't been growing. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it needs more light or what. It hasn't been dying, it hasn't been growing, it's just been stuck in time. And I don't want to repot it because I feel like Hoyas don't really like to be repotted too much, and they actually do really well in the same pot over a long period of time. I've tried giving it more light. It just won't do anything. Oh, by the way, this is a Hoya yves rocheri, and it's one of the last remaining Hoyas that I have in my collection. I've been very selective about the Hoya that I have. And oh, I forgot my Hoya linearis. I'll show that to you. Okay, sorry, I would have been so mad if I filmed this video and got all the way to the end to editing and realized I forgot one of my favorite trailing plants. Anyway, yeah, Hoya yves rocheri just reminds me of the ficus alii, which I have growing in my my kitchen. It's got these really nice, long, sharp, stiff leaves, and I like the drape. It's a little stiffer, but it is heavy enough that you can get like that nice, you know, whoosh. That's what we're gonna call it, the whoosh. But yeah, stuck in time. I don't know. Hoya people, please chime in. Tell me how I can like stimulate growth on this thing. I have chopped it a few times because I was propagating cuttings like crazy. There were so many people who wanted one of these once upon a time. They said they couldn't find it anywhere. And even when I was trying to find them online to like see what I should price it at, yeah, not a ton of them for sale. I don't know if it's because they grow really slow or what, but at some point when I first got this, it was growing like crazy. I should probably move it out of my hallway. It's living in my hallway right now, and it's really not getting a ton of light. Probably at most like 50-foot candles. I'm not even joking. Like, why isn't it growing? I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna move this because I really do love this Hoya, and when it's really, really nice and big and bushy, it is majestical. And I don't know, I wanna fall in love with this plant again because I know she has it in her. It just keeps pushing out the little sticky sticks, but no leaves. So, oh look, this died. So that's good. I'm gonna have this around for a while. I don't see this going anywhere. I really like the leaves, but what the heck? I'm like seeing all of this, like these dead stems now. If you are a Hoya person, do you think I should repot this? What are your thoughts? It's in pon. It has been in pon for a long time. Oh, okay. And yeah, I just don't really know what to do. It's not like it's rotting or anything. It's just like the roots look nice and healthy. It's just not pushing out any growth. I'm gonna try more light, but do you think I should repot it? Yes or no? This is a plant that truly, truly terrifies me. I try to not make like eye contact when I water it. I'm just like, you know, hoping for the best, but Hoya linearis probably, is this my favorite Hoya? Hold on. Is it my favorite Hoya? This is my favorite Hoya. Whoa. This is my favorite Hoya, but she scares me. She does. She's what's the word? Volatile? She just, you know, one day she's good, the next day she's just dead. My sister grows it really well. She says neglect it, forget to water it, don't change the pot for a very long time, don't fertilize. And that's just like everything that goes against my instincts as a plant parent and everything that I have learned over the years. And yeah, when I see this pot go dry, I get scared. Like right now it's dry and I allow it to go longer periods without having water, but it freaks me out. I'm like, it's gonna die. It's gonna die. This is the little pot that I got from my sister, and she propagated a bunch for me, but my original pot here is a mixture of my my OG plant from 2019, and then some propagations from my friend Britt. It's gotten really long this year. This year is probably the best my linearis has looked in like forever. And it's long. You see, it's all dropping like flies. You just look at it and it just like, I can see 3 Hoya linearis leaves on the floor. Yeah, so this thing is like almost 5 feet tall. And it seems okay. I've moved it into, this was very recent, rooting riches from Crystal Star Nursery. Topped it with akadama to kind of hold in that moisture. I can see new growth happening at the bottom, but I can also see this stem is like going yellow. And I'm just scared, guys, because I love this plant so much. It is, to me, one of the like most beautiful plants. Anytime I see like a nice big pot, I'm like, there's nothing better than that. It does not get any better than that. But I don't know what the trick is. Like, it almost seems a little bit too good to be true that my sister's like, oh, it thrives off neglect, because like how easy would that be? But you know, the proof is in the pudding with hers. Hers is humongous. She's had it for like 6 years now. It's been in the same pot for 6 years. She's probably fertilized it once. And yeah, it grows really well for her, but that just doesn't seem right to me. Okay, there's more on the ground. I'm gonna go put this away now because I'm really scared, but this is her living up here. I had to put it all the way, like basically to my ceiling because it's so long. It was living on that shelf, but it was like reaching the bottom and Archie kept trying to grab it. So probably by the time it gets long enough that he can reach it, I'm gonna have to chop it again. I do have a few other stems propagating in my prop box, which I want to add to this pot at some point, but I'm not touching this for a long time. Like, if I could keep this in this pot for like 10 years, that would be great. All right, we are moving on to the plants that are living in my plant room. There's not many, there really isn't, but there are probably like a handful in there. So one of them is my rhipsalis paradoxa. If you've been here a while, I don't want you to confuse this with my original rhipsalis paradoxa, which unfortunately perished. The entire thing just died, and it was sad because it was the first one I ever owned. I grew it from like a little tiny plant, and it was probably like this, like just this little piece right here. Like, it had grown really nice and big. There were so many like new ones coming in, and then one day it just completely rotted. They were all turning black, like from the center and then spreading this way. So it was like kind of rotting from the inside in the center out. I just couldn't explain it. I tried everything to try and like not reverse the damage, but like minimize the damage and propagate it and save it. It was not happening. But luckily my friend Prez had this one for sale local. I think I got this for like $15. I'm not even kidding. It was like a criminal amount. And I believe he got this from the nursery that we have that's about an hour away. It's called Devon's. They were selling really, really big pots. I snatched it up so quick. I was like, do not sell that plant. That is mine. I was at his house so fast. But this is one that like I remember seeing all over European plant Instagrams. Seems like people in Australia and Europe just had these really, really big pots that they were getting for like basically nothing. And they were everywhere, all different types of rhipsalis that were like way longer than this, like 2 to 3 times longer than this. And some people would show me like their new hauls that they got from like the plant store, and it was like 3 times the size of this. They're like, yeah, I got it for 20 pounds or something. And I was so jealous, and I'm like, why can't that happen here? And then one day it did. It seems like every month there's like a new kind of rhipsalis or new kind of like trailing plant that's popping up at big box, I wouldn't say big box stores, but like are like specialty nurseries here. And I was so glad that this was one of them. I knew that I wanted to get my hands on a nice big pot. I was just waiting for the right one. I did not want to drive to that nursery an hour away. It's just kind of hard to do that now with Archie. But yeah, I'm just glad that I got this one. So it wasn't this big when I got it. It was a little bit smaller. Like, it wasn't this long, definitely wasn't this long. And yeah, it's grown pretty well. It's still in the same pot because I'm too scared to repot it. I honestly don't think I need to repot this for a long time. There was someone that commented saying, because I was struggling with one of my rhipsalis, and they were like, didn't you just repot this like a few months ago? Like, I would just leave it, like even if it gets root bound, just leave it, like let it ride out being root bound. It'll figure itself out. And so that's what I'm gonna do with all of my rhipsalis. If it starts to get root bound, I'm just gonna pretend I don't see it, because I just wanna see them all just take off. this year. I just want all the trailing plants. I'm like, I just want to get rid of like all my big leafy plants and just have like the trailers because they make me so happy. And this is one of them that I'm obsessed with. This one is on my plant shelf in my plant room. I typically would like to have a plant like this out here, but I wanted to have some kind of like nice trailing plant for the background when I film in there, and I seem to be filming in there more often because I don't get times like this where the baby's not here. So yeah, thank you Prez for this. If you want a rhipsalis paradoxa and you need a sign to get one, let this be it. Oh yeah, let's do the whoosh test. It's not as, you know, it's not as nice, but when you do this, it feels really nice. Like it feels really good in your hand. It's got like a good weight to it. So that's what's important, the weight, I think, the heaviness of it. Since I just showed you the rhipsalis paradoxa, this is the rhipsalis paradoxa minor. There's a different name for it. Some people are saying that the rhipsalis paradoxa minor is not the right name, and I've been using that name since I've gotten it. This is a much smaller plant from when I started. I actually gave my big plant to my sister and she's growing it in her backyard now in California. And here's the thing is, I like this plant. It's got really everything that I look for in a plant like this. It's got like really, really subtle sides. It's really stiff and rigid. It is heavy. It has like that nice weight in your hand. But my one issue that I have is that it grows like this. Do you see this? And it'll just keep growing like this. And so it's not just like a nice long trailing basket. I wish I had shown you, and it's probably somewhere on my YouTube, but if you had seen the full pot, it was like, yeah, you had that really like long, nice trailing part, but then just so many like, it was just too crazy, and it was hard to kind of style it with other plants. It was taking up so much space. And so I'm like, what if I just had a smaller plant? Like maybe I'd like it more. And for some reason, I'm still not there. I keep going back and forth whether I want to get rid of this. But the reason that I kept a small cutting before I gave it to my sister was like, maybe I'm going to regret it. And right now it's taking up so little space that I'm not at a point yet where I'm ready to like throw in the towel and give up. In theory, I want to love this plant. It's just there's parts of its growth pattern that don't really, I don't know, just not feeling it. But yeah, it's pretty cool still. It's a great like filler plant, I would say, especially if you have like a nice big shelf and you need to take up space. I would probably consider one of these. Also living in no drainage in pond, and I've had pretty much every rhipsalis that I own growing in a pot with no drainage except for two of them. I'll show you one of them right now. This is a rhipsalis floccosa. I got this one from Jonathan as well at Flori.culture. It looks crazy right now. This needs help. It needs a little bit of work. I wanted to try and start over with this plant. I just didn't know where to start. Like, where do I even chop it? Where do I propagate it? Because this plant is actually really cool. So his mother plant was kind of like the first one that I showed you, the really long one. So very, very similar in growth pattern, except the phylloclades are thicker. So it's kind of like as thick almost as a bassifera. It's thick, so it's like that plant, and then rhipsalis bassifera, if you've ever had a bassifera, and then this one. I would say this is like the thicker one, the thickest one. But it's just been growing kind of weird for me. Yeah, it's not much to show right now. This is one of my projects. Like, I'm trying to figure out like, how do I get the end result that I want? How do I get it to grow like Jonathan's? And I think I just need to start over because it's just, yeah, it's doing weird things. Okay, last three. These are all from Jonathan. A lot of my trailing plants are from Jonathan because he just knows me. So this one is oh man. No, this is not from Jonathan. This is from my friend Britt. Britt, you gave this one to me, right? The rhipsalis hoelleri. Very, very similar to the first one I showed you, but thinner. You know what? What if they're the same plant? No, they're not. They're not. Rhipsalis, hoelleri. This one seems thinner than that plant, and it seems a little bit stiffer. Like they're not as soft. It feels a little bit more, what's the word? Woody? I think woody is the word I'm thinking of. So yeah, this is another one that doesn't sort of branch out a lot like the pilocarpa or the, what was I thinking of? The clavata. It should have nice long ones, but the growth has just been so stunted here. Like look at this one. This one grew like a long time ago and then it just stopped. It was like, no more. There's this one that's growing, but it's just like really, really weird, tiny growth. So I think this is probably one of those that I can grow in higher light. I thought about trying to move some of my rhipsalis outdoors for the summer. I am just scared. One, I'm scared of bringing pests back in when it is time to bring them back in for the fall and winter. But I have this gut feeling that if I let this sit on my balcony for the summer, that it would grow the philoclades that I got this plant for. So anyway, this is her right now. I am not chopping this anytime soon. I'm still at this point where I'm trying to understand it and have a plant that is worthy of showing off, because we're not there yet. Speaking of plants worthy of showing off, she's not quite there yet, but she is getting there. I can feel it. So this is probably one of my favorite plants that I got from Jonathan. This is a rhipsalis pacheco-leonis. This was probably at the very, 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 very top of my rhipsalis wish list. I just love the like chain like growth of this plant, and I'm starting to see growth now. Look at this little nuggy. Where are you? Oh, here. This little nuggy poo that's growing right there. New growth here. Hello, stop focusing on my face. New growth there. I think, oh yeah, new growth was growing on this one and then it like dried up and died. But his plant is so nice and big, and I have, oh my gosh, you guys, I have pestered him basically the last 3 or 4 times that I've been there. I'm like, you want to sell me your mother plant? Because he has 2 really big ones, and I showed it in that plant tour. But I can't afford the price that it would be, and I understand that it would have to be priced pretty high, because you don't really see these. You don't find these just in the market. It's a harder rhipsalis to come by, and it is, in my experience so far, very slow growing. So I can understand maybe why the propagations go for more. It just makes you work for it a little bit more. So yeah, we're gonna get there. We are. I have high hopes for this one. I'm not in a rush. I really do, like when I do videos like this where I can show you a plant like the micans or my cissus, it's like, it's nice knowing that it started as very like a very humble plant and a really tiny plant, and I'm the one that grew it nice and big. I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's really satisfying. So I'm going to end this video with this last plant that I still can't believe I have it. I still can't believe it. If you guys watched my tour, you'll know that I picked up this schlumbergera lutea, aka the Hatiora epiphyloides. I have been doing more research on this, and apparently it is notoriously hard to grow and to maintain, and so I am very scared. But the good news is there's new growth. Do you see that little tiny guy right there? That's brand new. There was a second plant in here. It was really small, and when I first got it, it was already like pretty crinkled and like dehydrated, and so I didn't have a lot of faith that it was going to survive. And yeah, by the time it was here for like a week, it just had completely mushed up. But yeah, this is her right now. I am not quite sure what I'm doing, honestly. I am keeping this in my exo. I am trying to not give it too much heat. It's not super hot in there, and I have it sort of lower down so that it's not like crazy close to the grow light, because I have one Monios in there, that's 24 watts, and 2 Barina, 10 watts each. So yeah, quite a bit of light when you get closer to the top. So it's, yeah, sort of like mid-level, and I don't let this dry out too much, but I also don't keep it like wet. Like I make sure to not like just have it sitting in water, but I try to not let it ever dry out. And that is what my gut instinct is telling me about this plant right now, and that's what I'm doing. If anyone has any care tips, I don't see a ton of these out in the market, so I'm not sure that there's a lot of like information out about it right now, but the good news is it feels healthy, like it feels nice and firm. I don't see any like rot or anything. I can see some new roots along the sides here, which is great. I can see one root starting to poke out of the bottom. I'm not gonna repot this for a long time. I probably will repot it at like the end of summer, but even if I do, it's not gonna go in a pot much bigger than this. And I'm going to try and replicate this substrate that he has going on here, which looks like it's a mix of tree fern fiber, coarse perlite, like super airy coarse perlite, some cocoa husk, cocoa fibers, I believe, and probably a bit of worm castings. I've never actually asked him what his mix is, but yeah, I will try and replicate it the best I can. So yeah, not super trailing right now, but eventually will be trailing. And again, that is one of the plants that I would be just gutted, so gutted if anything happened to it. For some reason, I feel like I'm missing a plant, like I'm missing something. It just doesn't quite feel, I feel like someone slipped through the cracks. But here we are. This video is way longer than I thought it was gonna be. I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk about each plant for like 2 minutes and done. But of course, just like blabbed longer than usual. But I love trailing plants. I still have it in my heart and in my apartment space for more. I am trying to clear out a lot more anthurium. I want my plant room shelf, I want that to be half trailing plants and half anthurium. Right now there's just too many anthurium. I really am gonna have to just narrow it down and not keep ones that, one, like I don't like plan on breeding maybe, and two, like just keep the ones that are like sentimental to me. I'm obviously gonna keep at least maybe 1 or 2 hybrids from each of my friends who've ever sent me a plant. And yeah, just really taper things down because there's just too many anthurium in there. And honestly, when you have something like a thrips outbreak, it is just not fun. My camera's dying. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with me. I hope you maybe found a trailing plant that you vibe with. Maybe there's one that you want to add to your wish list. If you have any suggestions for me of a trailing plant that you might think that I should add to my collection, please let me know. Again, if you have any care tips for any of these plants that I have, I would super appreciate it, especially this one, especially her. She needs the most help. But yeah, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in the next one.